Good morning, girls. In the last class, we learnt about Iltutmish, who was a slave and also the son in law of Kutubuddin Aibak. And we also saw how Iltutmish, through his conquests, he was able to recover all the territories which once belonged to the Ghazni Empire. Now, today we'll be learning about Razia Sultana, who was the daughter of Iltutmish. Iltutmish did not consider any of his sons worthy of becoming a sultan. So, according to Iltutmish, none of his sons were capable of being a sultan or a ruler. He therefore nominated his daughter Razia as his successor, since Iltutmish felt that none of his sons were capable of being a ruler. He decided to nominate his daughter Razia as his successor. Nominate means to name someone as a candidate. So, Iltutmish, he named Razia as a candidate to be his successor. However, many Turkish nobles opposed this move because they considered it below their dignity to be ruled by a woman. So, when Iltutmish, when he nominated Razia as his successor, the decision was opposed. The decision was rejected by many nobles, many of the Turkish nobles who belonged to the ruling class. They were against this decision because they felt that it was below their dignity, it was below their worth to be ruled by a woman ruler. So they crowned Iltutmish's son Ruknuddin as the new sultan, since they felt that if a woman ruler came to power, it would be below their dignity, it would be below their worth to be ruled by a woman ruler. So they decided to crown his son. They decided to crown Iltutmish's son Ruknuddin as the new sultan. But within 7 months, Ruknuddin was removed from the throne and Razia became the first woman ruler of Delhi Sultanate. So Ruknuddin, he was not a very capable ruler, and within 7 months he was removed from the throne and Razia became the first woman ruler of the Delhi Sultanate. Razia was an able and brave ruler. So, Iltutmish's daughter Razia, she was a very capable, very powerful and a very courageous ruler. She put an end to the chaos created by Ruknuddin and restored law and order. So, when Ruknuddin came to power, when Ruknuddin was the sultan of the Delhi Sultanate, there were many chaos which existed in the empire. Chaos means it's a state of disorder or a confusion. So there were many disorders which happened in the Delhi Sultanate during the rule of Ruknuddin. So when Razia, when she came to power, she put an end to all these chaos and she restored. Restore means to re-establish. And she re-established law and order in the Delhi Sultanate. She used to dress like a man and herself led the armies in the battlefield. So, when Razia, she came to power and she became the new sultan, she dressed like men and she also led the armies in the battles. She gave up parda, held an open court, listened to the problems of her subjects, and exercised general supervision over the work of every department. So, when Razia, when she came to power, when she became the ruler, she gave up parda. Razia, she was the woman of the Muslim community. She belonged to the Muslim community and she was supposed to wear a parda. So when she came to power, she gave up parda. She stopped wearing parda and she held open court where she listened to the problems of all the citizens, where she listened to the problems of all the people, and she also started to look over the work of every department. She started to supervise the work of every department. Some provincial governors became hostile and rose against her. Some of the governors, provincial governors means governors of provinces. So some of the provincial governors, they started to develop hatred towards Razia. They became hateful and they rose against her. They started to move against her. They started to fight against Razia. She tried to crush their revolt but could not succeed. Razia, she tried to put an end to the revolt of these provincial governors, but she was not able to succeed in her effort. She was defeated and imprisoned. Her Abyssinian slave Yakut, to whom she showed extraordinary favors, was also killed. So, when Razia tried to put an end to the revolt, she was defeated and she was also put into prison. And her slave Yakut, her Abyssinian slave Yakut, whom she favored a lot, was also killed in the revolt. Razia married Altonia, the leader of the rebels, and tried to recover Delhi with his help, but both of them were killed. So during the revolt, during all this chaos which was happening against Razia, she married Altonia, who was the leader of the rebels. Altonia was the leader of all these rebels, and she married Altonia, and she tried to put an end to the revolt, and she tried to get back Delhi with the help of Altonia, but she was not successful, and both Altonia and Razia were killed in the revolt. So this is about Razia Sultana, who is the daughter of Iltutmish. Now we'll move on to Nasruddin Mahmud. Nasruddin Mahmud ascended the throne at the young age of 17. So Nasruddin Muhammad, he came to throne. He became the ruler when he was just 17 years old. He was a simple and peace-loving person, but a weak and inexperienced ruler. So this ruler who was of just 17 years, he was a very simple and a very peace-loving person, but he was not a very powerful ruler. He was a very peaceful person, but he was not very powerful. He was a very weak and inexperienced ruler because he was just 17. He was a very inexperienced ruler. So he left the administration in the hands of his efficient Prime Minister Balban. Since Nasruddin Muhammad, he was just of age 70, he was a very unexperienced ruler. He left all his administration, all the management in the hands of his Prime Minister, whose name was Balban. Balban crushed the internal rebellion and ruled for 20 years on behalf of Nasruddin. So Balban, he put an end to all the rebellion, all the revolt which was happening in the Delhi Sultanate, and he ruled for about 20 years on behalf of Nasruddin. In the place of Nasruddin, representing Nasruddin, Balban ruled for about 20 years. So this is about Nasruddin Muhammad. Today we learnt about Razia Sultana, who was the daughter of Iltutmish, and also about Nasruddin Muhammad. So we'll stop for today, girls. Thank you.